again. Live shows are nothing new to you, though. Monday Movie Show used to go out live for like decades, didn't it? So,
Yeah, I can't remember if we never pre-recorded a show. Never. Every single episode that we released from 2010 in its short form, like 2 half-hour episodes, so break in between, to the point where we were able to do 3 hours without a single break. Every show that we did was 100% live
how
and
did you?
non-scripted.
So when you're doing like live shows for about 3 hours, obviously at some point in the amount of shows that you did, somebody's like, "I need to go to the bathroom." How did you handle that? Was it like, "You take over, I'm off, and I'll come back"?
See, that's where we inserted an artificial break. So that's why we had, for example, an advert from yourself, or we had a clip that we could play. So, like, for example, Andy might have been reviewing a film, and so we needed to play a clip, and so it would have given me the chance, if I needed to go to the toilet, to go to the toilet. Or when I was doing a review, it gave the chance for Andy to go to the toilet. Because it wasn't in video form, it was only in audio form, we could cheat in that instance. So it could take, for example, if it was a big release of the week, like the main film, and it was me who was actually reviewing it. Obviously, the setup is going to be a couple of minutes. I was in charge of all the clips anyway, so I could go through my setup, which would give Andy a good few minutes to actually go to the toilet or get a drink or do whatever he needs to do, come back, and then if he's seen the film, have a rebuttal against it. So
audio podcasting is so much easier than video podcasting, isn't it? Really is.
Oh yeah, you don't have to see this ugly mug.
You can also like just turn around and look at your notes and have all these different screens open and stuff. Whereas video, you're like, I need to pretend that I've memorized all this crap in my head, which usually you have, but I haven't. So
yeah,
I cheat. I have the chat room on a big screen behind this phone that I'm using as my camera. So if anybody has any questions, chuck them in there. And if you see me doing that, that's because I'm looking at the chat room. So
yeah, I always had notes. My note again, audio. You couldn't see what I had, but not notes to the point where it is pretty much a description of the film and my thoughts. I never did that. I would maybe have the director, a couple of the actors in the film, and their characters' names, and that's it. Because obviously trying to remember every single film. For example, this month I've seen 28 films so far since the start of October up to this point. And that 27 of them are completely brand new films.
Yeah.
So one film is a rewatch, surprisingly. But trying to remember everything about all 28 films there, obviously apart from the rewatch, because if I can't remember about the rewatch, then there's something seriously wrong with us. It's so hard to do. So in this form, in video form, I do have a piece of paper. Yep. Look, people can see I'm cheating. But the only cheat I've got is the fact I've got the names of all the films that I've watched this month. That's it. No actors, no directors, nothing.
Blank. That is my piece of paper. There's nothing on the other side. So usually I do like you do. I write down the films I've watched or topics that I want to cover or something like that. But I'm kind of lazy today. I've been to a car boot sale this morning, which I haven't done one of those in years. And it was in a multi-story. It wasn't too bad. It's raining now, but when we went out this morning, which is an ungodly hour of like 8:30 on a Sunday morning, what the hell? The weather was quite nice, so we wandered around. I picked up I picked up a DVD box set, and I picked up this weird Star Wars book that I'm going to do a video of later for this channel and also the Star Wars Cantina channel. But I was expecting to come back with like loads, and I kind of didn't. There's a lot of crap that people sell in car boot sales.
Yeah, definitely.
Like little spanners and one baby sock and all that sort of stuff. You're like, you ever gonna buy that? But that was my experience this morning. Got back. Our cat's been outside. It's raining. Come back in like a drowned rat. So it's like chasing the cat around the house to towel dry it. Is Ozzy your cat outdoors cat or an indoor cat?
Completely 100% indoor.
Never shown any inclination to go, I'm going to let it.
He has, because I live on the first floor of a flat. It's only 2 floors anyway. And so when I take the rubbish out for the bins or anything like that, he's shown an indication that he wants to investigate what is like outside the door. So I do let him out, but he only stays on the landing part, and that's it. Okay. He's quite a nervous cat, so as soon as he hears a bang noise or, for example, the postman, absolutely hates the postman. He goes shooting his little cubbyhole bed that I've set up here under my bed. So yeah, he sleeps mainly during the day anyway. So
Yeah.
and then wakes me up at like 6 o'clock every single morning.
Our cat has like it has a routine. It's weird. It's like goes out, comes back in, goes back out, comes back in, checks in to let us know he's fine. Has one bedroom that he sleeps in the afternoon, and then in the evening sleeps in a different bedroom, and it's like that all the time. It's just weird. Cats are just bonkers. They're very strange. I'm hoping mine.
Yeah.
Ozzy, there we go.
That little pest.
Nice.
And he'll jump down off my knee straight away because he hates being picked up.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, he's
always. I mean,
really hates it.
It didn't look like massively. I'm not a fan. Just like, yeah, I'd rather not. So at least you're not getting scratched and clawed in his stuff.
He hates being picked up. Okay. So yeah, he does like his belly rubbed.
Yes, yeah. Cats have always got one thing that they like anyway. So, how has October/Shocktober been for you? Yeah, we talked about it the other time. It's like it's not much different for you. You watch as many horror films as you do. So
too many. So as I said to you the last time, I don't do Shocktober because for me, anyway. I just don't see the point, considering about half the films I watch over the course of the year is horror films. Like so far this year, not including the 2 rewatches of the films that I've seen in the cinema. One of them I'll get onto a little bit later on. I've seen 150 completely new films that were only released in 2025, which makes me 2 short of the same amount I watched last year. Last year I watched 152. So from today, October the 26th, not the date of the show, but from October the 26th up until December the 31st, I've got to watch 3 films. 3 films, that's it. And then I've bettered the amount of films I watched last year.
Wow. I'm on 143 films this year, but they include rewatches and all that sort of stuff. Midnight Social, hello. Always a fan seeing you in the chat. And hello to Blue Mirror. So hello to people in the chat. It's always nice when you see people in the chat room. You're like, hey, because I remember for a while I did live ones. It's like nobody. You did live shows for years? Obviously, a different platform. You weren't doing YouTube, but how was your chat room? I know I used to pop up there now and again when I wasn't like working, or sometimes
it was fun.
Pop up when I was working, but.
It was fine. You could sort of like use it as a bit of a distraction, especially if you're actually reviewing a film and then all of a sudden somebody throws a question at you. And so you're going, shall I respond to it now? Shall I just continue on what I'm seeing or whatever? Yeah. But you get used to it. As soon as you actually see questions or comments or anything like that, you know when to actually insert them into your conversation. So you get used to it.
I did a live show a few weeks back. Somebody just jumped in the chat room and went, "You look gay," and I'm like, "What does gay look like? I don't know. What the really?" And then it just disappeared. I'm like, "Guess I had my first drop." In fact, let me show Oscar. Oh, what's this? Hang on. There we go.
It's a cat podcast rather than a film podcast.
Oscar, the wonderful cat. Now, Oscar doesn't mind me picking him up.
Yeah.
So, but he's not a fan of picking him up. But he's now made a cameo at the Oscar. Hopefully, doesn't make a cameo by knocking over the tripod. But yeah, the chat rooms. I like the chat rooms. I think they're great.
Yeah, same here.
So yeah, how's it been? Has it been like a standout horror movie this year where you're like, that is probably going to be the best horror movie I've seen?
See, this year's been difficult. For me, like last year, there was obviously films that was battling each other. All of Us Strangers and Flow, because I saw Flow early. Yeah, I saw All of Us Strangers at the start of the year, and for me, I thought that was a nailed-on film of the year. And then I saw Flow at the end of November last year. In the UK, it wasn't officially released over here until March of this year, which I can still technically, if I want to, be an absolute dick and put it in my top 10 films of the year this year. However, I did name it I think I named it my number 2 film of last year because I still found All of Us Strangers to be my number 1 film. So it was actually in my top 10 last year. So I'll think about that when it comes to the start of December if I want to be that ultimate dick and just throw that film at number 1 because I gave it a 5 out of 5. This year, there's been some really good horror films. but nothing that has gone and smacked me across the head going, this is an ultimate 5 out of 5 film. So, for example, Weapons, I really loved Weapons. I was one of the fans of Weapons. 28 Years Later, I really liked 28 Years Later as well, and so I was a fan of that. So there has been some standout ones, but nothing which is an almighty smash. There is still a couple of films I want to see. Strange Harvest, which is released tomorrow over here, because it's going direct to digital, which I'm desperate to see. There's a film called Dream Eater as well, which is out on the 31st. I'm interested in seeing Shelby Oaks, which is out on the 31st. I've not gotten a chance to see Frankenstein, but it's out on the 8th of November on Netflix over here.
Yeah, I've seen I've seen a lot of mention of Shelby Oaks, but I couldn't for the life of you tell you what that film is in fact about. So what's the pitch on Shelby Oaks?
It's the latest film it's the directorial debut from Chris Stuckman, who's a YouTube reviewer. He sort of like went away from reviewing films on YouTube for a while to create his directorial debut. The film itself was finished last year, but then it was sort of like being shipped around across loads of different festivals, and it was finding it really difficult for studios to pick it up. And then I think it was Neon who actually picked it up and poured some money into it. And so he went back and reshot scenes and things like that. It's in a weird, typical found footage. So it's a found footage live action hybrid movie. So I don't know if you've seen Rec 3, the third in the Rec films.
No, I think I've only seen the first 2 Rec films.
Well, the third Rec film is the first 10 minutes, it still sticks with the found footage motif. And then it instantly drops out after 10 minutes and it goes to a normal film about it's a wedding where there is like zombies and stuff like that. So that's Rec 3. This one here, it's a woman who goes back to the town. Something bad happens. Found footage at the start, but then it goes into a normal sort of like movie itself. But I've heard sort of like mixed things, and when I hear mixed things in regards to it, I'm always going, "Ooh, I'm intrigued by it." So I've seen some people say it's a really good directorial debut. I read the review from The Guardian, who gave it 1 star, and so it must have rubbed
Guardian knowing it.
It must have rubbed somebody up the wrong way for them. If some places are giving them 3-4 stars, and then The Guardian just throws a 1 right there. So when you see those, you get a little bit intrigued by it. So it was released in America on Friday. It just gone, and it's out here in UK cinemas on the 31st. So I'm just slightly intrigued by it.
Okay. And Bring Her Back was this year, wasn't it?
Bring Her Back's a really, really good film. The most depressing movie of the year so far.
Yeah, it's not a happy film. It's not a happy film at all. I'm always a bit iffy when I see Sally Hawkins in anything. I think she's a really good actress, but she always plays these characters that she plays annoying character really, really well. With Happy Go Lucky or obviously Bring Her Back. And as soon as I saw her, I'm like, oh, bloody hell, is she going to be playing an annoying character? Yes, she was, but she plays it brilliantly. So it's nothing against Sally Hawkins. I'm just like, oh God, it's the type of characters that she plays.
She plays a very evil character, and the last time sort of like it rang a bell when an actor was more prone to play really happy-go-lucky characters was seeing Macaulay Culkin in The Good Son.
Yeah.
Like you saw him in things like Home Alone and Uncle Buck and stuff like that, and it's just happy, joyful character. I know you look at him in Home Alone, and he's trying to stop these 2 robbers,
he's trying to murder people.
Probably, yeah, you've seen all the theories in regards to Home Alone, but it's still more. It's a children's movie and things like that. And then I remember seeing the cover for The Good Son on VHS at my local video store, and I saw that it was Macaulay Culkin and Elijah Wood on the front cover, and it was an 18 certificate, and I was thinking Macaulay Culkin in an 18 instant rental of it, and then you watch it and go, yikes! And then he hadn't done anything like that since.
No. The Good Son, I remember being really problematic when it was due to hit VHS because the BBFC around that time, it was the whole Child's Play 3 and Reservoir Dogs and True Romance. They were throwing a bit of a hissy fit, and there was issues with The Good Son. It's like, when's it? And it was delayed for a little while, And then thankfully it came out VHS, and I haven't seen it for a few years though.
Neither have I.
I should go back and could that fit into a Shocktober? I think it possibly.
Yeah, because it is. It's got horror elements to it. It's a dark thriller. I would say it, but yeah, it's got, some people would say it's a human horror.
Because there's a couple of I'm doing a horror film every single day for the month. I'll be really glad when horror month's over and I can watch something that isn't horror. Because I really want to watch House of Dynamite, which is on Netflix.
Which I've
I'm
seen.
a massive Catherine Bigelow fan, so I'm very excited about that. And obviously that's not a horror. Well, I suppose technically you could go if it's about nuclear stuff.
Human horror. I actually,
human horror.
Not a spoiler, but ironically on my little Blue Sky pity reviews things, I did see in my open sentence, Catherine Bigelow, the master of human horror. Because she's the master of human horror. The last horror film she did was Near Dark.
Yeah.
But all of her films have got horror elements in it, even though they're human movies. There's no supernatural elements or demons or vampires or anything like that at all with her films, apart from Near Dark. Yet all of her films, Zero Dark 30, things like that, is just human horror.
Yeah.
So a Fistful of Dynamite is the same.
So I'm very looking forward to watching
sorry?
that. House of Dynamite. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's weird we live in this age where Oscar winner, Catherine Bigelow brings a film out and like a week after it's been in theaters, it's on Netflix. It's just like I can't quite get my head around how we live in that world nowadays.
Yeah. Paul Greengrass with The Lost Bus, Guillermo del Toro with Frankenstein.
Yeah, I know some people who have seen Frankenstein on the big screen. They're like, "My God, that film's beautiful." But you could pretty much say that about any Del Toro film. He knows how to make a film look stunning.
Definitely, but I have to wait until Netflix now because my cinema wasn't showing it, so I couldn't go to the cinema to see it. So unfortunately, I have to wait for Netflix to show it.
So, what have you watched? What entertaining nuggets have you got to throw us?
I have tons of films. As I said, I've seen 28 films this month so far. One rewatch in the cinema. Actually, I'll just get onto that now, the rewatch, because last month I saw Alien for the first time on the big screen.
How amazing is that on the big screen?
This month I topped it. I saw Nightmare on Elm Street on the big screen for the first time.
Wow. How different because I know how different a film can look. I don't mean like just the quality of it, whatever, but the whole atmosphere. A film can look massively different. And if you watch a film that you absolutely love on the big screen, it's just like it's a whole nother level, isn't it? So you've seen Elm Street. It's one of the sort of foundation movies your entire life. Not to underplay that, but how was it? What was the experience of watching Elm Street 1?
The best thing about seeing that the cinema is as well as they can take advantage not just of the size of the screen, but also the sound. Because as I've said, my cinema has just not long been refurbished. It's had a huge, massive refurbishment in the cinema itself. And so it's got the latest technology in the cinema. I would absolutely love it if a cinema did something very unique and had 11 screens of the latest technology and one of an old school projector, like a 15mm or a 30mm projector, just to take it back to the old school. It doesn't have to be a big screen, just a small screen, just to take advantage of 15mm, 30mm footage. Because you know me, I'm a cinephile and I absolutely love that. And yeah, the film itself, it's digital. So on Elm Street, the version that it showed is digital. So it's being cleaned up. So you don't get any of the distractions from the little circles appear on the screens or degradation of the picture quality, which I still absolutely love that kind of thing. And the sound itself is being cleaned up, which means that you can actually understand and hear the sound cues a lot better. So that's the thing with both Alien and A Nightmare on Elm Street. The sound in both of those films elevate the film even more so. They do act like characters. Like the sound is very integral to Alien. The score is especially. And A Nightmare on Elm Street is exactly the same because, for example, when Freddy Krueger is dragging his knives across the pipes, you need to hear the squeaks, even though you might really hear that sound. You need to still hear the scratching noises and the squeaks. And so seeing that or hearing that on a big screen is is huge, and A Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984, still holds up today. You find yourself laughing more at it than you did back when you originally saw it, because then you get the fact that Craven was playing it for more titillation horror rather than just scary kind of horror, some of the scenes. But it still handles so well, and it's such a fast-paced movie. Like, it's a movie that it doesn't build up. It just begins and it just never stops. It's relentless, that film, despite the fact that there's only a few characters who die through the entirety of the movie. It's still absolutely non-stop, that movie. Because right, the opening sequence is Freddy Krueger setting up his glove. That is the opening sequence, and normally you might have to wait to find out what actually happened to him first and then set up the glove, so that might take 20 minutes. But in this film, 10 seconds and you've got the glove on. The other good thing about seeing it in the cinema as well is my cinema decided to just do it that as soon as the start time of the film was, normally you've got to sit through 20 minutes of adverts, 10 minutes of trailers. No, the film began straight away. There was no adverts, no trailers. It just instantly began, which sort of like caught a lot of people off guard. Like, some people walked in 20 minutes into the film because they were expecting to skip through the adverts. And now I'm sitting there going, see the reason why I like to get here 10 minutes before even the adverts start.
Yeah.
Just in case. But A Nightmare on Elm Street is still absolute pure horror genius. It's still an absolutely fantastic film.
I've watched, as part of my Shocktober, I've watched Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, and then Part 4, Dream Master, which I hadn't seen for years, but 3 I really, really like. But I hadn't seen it, and Annette had never seen anything beyond the first Elm Street. I think we'd seen 2, so we'd watched number 2 a few years ago. So I just jumped into number 3, and we watched 3 one night, and then 4 the night after. She enjoyed them. Very cheesy, and she did comment that as the films go on, the makeup kind of gets worse. So in number 4, she's like, "Oh God, it looks like plastic." And I never really thought too much into that, but number 1's definitely the best. But I think number 3 is also a pretty solid film as well.
If I was ranking my top 3, it's number 1 is the best, then A New Nightmare is number 2, and then 3 is number 3. That's that's the way I will put it, because A New Nightmare is Wes Craven being ultra meta before he even obviously did Scream, and it's such a genius film. Some of the ideas in A New Nightmare is genius. I haven't seen that in quite a while.
Yeah, I haven't watched that in years. Number 5, I don't remember being too great. And then obviously Freddy's Dead is not the best in the series, but everybody just remembers it.
I would probably say it's the worst. Freddy's Dead is not the best, but to me anyway, the worst Nightmare on Elm Street film is still such an entertaining view.
Yeah, because it's
It's the same with Friday the 13th and Hellraiser as well. Not Hellraiser. If you get into Dead, because I wasn't a fan of things like Hellraiser, Deader, and those ones. Number 5 and 6, not a fan of them. Hellworld gets a bashing, but again, if you release your brain, there's a couple of cheesy bits in Hellworld, which is watchable. Revelations is utter garbage, is totally and utter trash. So the 3 after that, and then the reboot is actually very, very watchable. In the Hellraiser franchise.
Yeah, I've heard good things. I haven't seen the reboot. There's so many films out there. I think the last Hellraiser film I saw was Bloodline. So
I didn't mind Bloodline.
It was okay. Talking Friday the 13th, I rewatched, introduced Annette to it the first time. Friday the 13th Part 2, which I enjoyed. They're all the same, those films. Like throw a bunch of camp counselors in an area. Jason comes, picks them off, and dies at the end. She was like, "Hang on a minute, I thought he died." I'm like, "He does that at the end of every film, don't worry about it. It's fine. He'll be back."
Pretty much, yeah.
So obviously we've not met the hockey mask yet. So I may try and squeeze in Friday the 13th Part 3 this month in the final few days of Shocktober. But I'm very much looking forward to watching films that aren't horror.
I don't know if you can see them, but that is my plugs that I've got on my lobes. Is the hockey mask.
Wow.
Which every single time I go out, I was mentioning this because I was out last night with a few friends, and I mentioned this to them, that every single time I go somewhere now, somebody comments on the low plugs that I've got in, because I've either got these ones in or I've got these gold sneaks, which is sort of like very similar to seeing the box of one of the Friday the 13th, where you sort of like see the snake kind of thing. And so they're always complimenting. I've got about 10 different compliments in regards to the hockey mask plugs that I've got in my lobes.
Nice. It is iconic, the hockey mask, and even when people, you see hockey players wearing it, you look at it and go, "Hey, it's a Jason mask." It's no longer a hockey mask, it's a Jason mask.
Yeah.
So we've watched that. What else have you watched? Because I'm sure we'll try and get through as many as possible of your list.
I'll throw out a lot of the small films because there's a lot of small films that I have watched, and most of them are horror movies anyway. So a double bill of films called Scurry and Primitive War, which is the only reason why I've thrown them together. It's from the same director. Scurry is a small film about two people who get trapped underground after an earthquake happens, discover there's a monster chasing them. They need to try and survive. It's not handled very well. There is very little tension in it. When you've got a movie that's in a very enclosed in space, you need tension. And there is pretty much no tension. The characters are very annoying. The best thing about the film is that when one of them dies, because then it shuts them up from having a conversation with each other. And then Primitive War got a cinematic release in America, which is interesting. It's set during the Vietnam War, where this squadron go missing. So another squadron is sent in to try and investigate what's happened, and they discover that dinosaurs were the thing that's actually caused them to go missing. So it takes Jurassic Park and sets it in Vietnam War and throws in a group of soldiers. You would expect it to be slightly tongue-in-cheek. It takes itself way too seriously. The CGI is laughable, to say the least. It's way too long. It's on for nigh on close to 2 hours and 20 minutes. Stupidly long for what it should actually be. The action set pieces are just pathetically laughable as well. It's like if college students are doing their first film in their movie class. It's that kind of acting. It's just completely throwaway drivel, unfortunately.
So I'll skip it.
Vicious, from the director of The Strangers.
I've seen that. Yeah. Let's have a chat about Vicious.
I didn't like it at all.
Why? I didn't mind it. I'm not like, I wasn't, though this is one of my favorite films of the year, but I was, well, if that was me playing the Dakota Fanning character, this film would be a short film because I ain't letting that woman in my house. It's just like, it just starts off and it's like, could I come in your house? No, don't let her in. Oh, you're letting her in. Can you do it? No, it's horror logic, which I think Midnight Social said the other week in a thing. It's like, just people in horror movies are just dumbasses half the time, aren't they? But I suppose if they weren't, we wouldn't have a movie. But my God, people, eyes up.
Yeah, it's because my initial thoughts was it was just an interesting premise in the fact that they've got this box and they have to put in 3 things within inside this box. So it was an interesting premise, but it was just let down overall by its full-on execution. Like the way it handled itself, because it is directed by the guy who did The Strangers. He just didn't know how to handle it. Just really, in my opinion, just didn't know how to handle it at all, and so it just plods along for me. Like it never seemed to grasp us or grab us at all. It just felt like it had this principal idea, and that's it. Like there was nothing much else. Like the acting was very subpar. Some of the decisions that was made was just questionable.
Yeah.
And so it didn't stick for me. Vicious.
I thought Dakota Fanning was really good in it because predominantly it's like her and her own for most of it. I think I still can't get used to her not being the kid that's in Man on Fire or I Am Sam. It's like, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
But I thought she did fine. But yeah, the film itself was like, okay, now put it back in the oven and cook it for another 2 hours and let's see what you get out of it. But yeah, the decisions that many of the characters made were like, what? Crazy.
Yeah, it's completely underbaked. And if people weren't watching, it's on Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
So it definitely does feel like one of those straight to streaming. Like there was no way that film could have gotten a theatrical release.
No, I don't think it would do too well if it did.
Just like the next film, Robin, with a 1 instead of an I, so ROB1N. It's on Prime, Amazon Prime. It is sort of like a knockoff version of Megan, but set in the UK. It's a UK film. the similarities to Megan and this is just stands at a doll, and that's pretty much it. There is another film which I cannot remember the name of it. It's a doll movie which is very, very similar to Megan. Like it happens all the time in films.
Not Companion, is it? Is it that one?
No, because that one is sort of like EI, and it's a little bit different. I felt in regards to Megan. I saw Companion earlier on this year. It's something like Rebecca. It's got a one-word name, and it's just got a doll on the front of the box, very similar to Annabelle. It's sort of like a mixture between Annabelle and Megan. But this one, the only similarities is the fact that this film centers around a robot boy that's created by its owner to keep him company. Then the guy's nephew decides to visit him, supposedly to try and rekindle a family relationship that was lost 20 years prior. However, there is undercurrent reasons as to why he actually wants to be there. And the doll is pretty much there to protect the uncle and goes on a murderous rampage. It's extremely low budget, very low budget kind of stuff. It's not bad. It's watchable, just watchable low. Like if you can't think of anything else, you're scrolling through Prime, you want to just watch something to pass the time away for 90 minutes. You can't be bothered to watch something that's intellectually challenging, that means that you have to concentrate. Stick it on, but don't expect anything special from it. There is a couple of decent gory kills in the movie, and it makes a decision that is a bit stupid.
As many of those films do.
In other words, a decision that is screaming sequel. But Robin will not get a sequel because I don't know how they're going to do it, considering that they changed the I into a 1. Are they going to change the B into a 2 or something?
They could. They could go that route and just confuse everybody even more.
Exactly. I watched Locked.
Okay. What's the premise of that one? And drop some on the floor there.
That's it's the. Now I've got to remember to try and get the right Skarsgård brother, because we know that there's a lot of Skarsgård brothers, and it is Bill Skarsgård. So it's Bill Skarsgård and Anthony.
Yeah.
Yes, and Anthony Hopkins.
Okay.
It was released sort of like mid this year. It's one of those one location movies. So Skarsgård plays a father down on his luck. And the only way for him to get money, he needs to try and get his van out of.
I've seen this. Yeah.
That's the one where he's locked in the car.
Gets locked in the limo. Yeah. I like that because I'm a sucker for these one location things. So yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I didn't, unfortunately. Again, it was like the idea and the premise was there. How it executed the idea was just a bit childish. Like there's very little you can actually do with the idea itself. And the malevolence from Hopkins is nowhere near to see Hannibal Lecter kind of malevolence.
No.
Like the way he's playing it is, he sounds like a psychopathic person, but in sort of like in your mind, you're getting, oh, this is just a dear old man who wasn't taking his medication. That's pretty much. And then when you discover as to the reason why he's doing it, you're just going, that's so formulaic. Like it's just so basic on the reason why he's doing what he's actually doing. And Skarsgård does the best he can do, but again, because he's confined to that one location predominantly throughout the film, you just can't do a lot. And then the decision that it makes near to the end of the film on how it tries to tie the story together and have an overall ending to it, again, it just felt lazy. Like I don't think they sat down and thought, how can we make this a more of an intelligent ending or an intriguing ending? No, they just went with, oh, well, we'll just do this instead.
I mean,
it felt like it ran out of ideas.
There are some dumb-arse moments in that. I remember Bill Skarsgård's character was kicking the windows, like full on kicking them. I get that they might not break. So, okay, maybe you've got glass that strong that they won't break. But there's a guy stood on like the other side of the window who can't hear that. And you're like, that, I'm pretty sure you would. No matter how thick that glass is, you would see the car moving a little bit and you would know that something's going on. So there's a few moments in the movie where you're like, okay, obviously I need to suspend disbelief quite a lot. But I didn't mind it. I'd forgotten I'd watched it until you mentioned it. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I've watched that one.
It's pretty much exactly what I said as my overall sort of like, conclusion to my little pithy review. I just said forgettable.
Yeah,
because
and
it
I
is.
forgot I watched it.
I think everybody's forgot that movie.
Yeah,
because it was just dropped. It had a theatrical release in the US, and I think it had a very small theatrical release over here, but it was just dropped with absolutely no fanfare. And considering you've got Bill Skarsgård and Anthony Hopkins in it, it seems to though be happening to a lot of what we attest to being big actors, like Samuel J. Fox, Samuel Jackson, sorry, all those big actors. They seem to just be starring in small films, which just get absolutely dropped out of nowhere, and then
even your De Niro's and stuff. I mean, that's been going on for quite a few years, where De Niro would be in a film, and you're like, it would just drop onto wherever, and you're like, what? Al Pacino and all these black huge names. Just they just end up as streaming fodder.
Pacino was in a film earlier on this year called The Ritual with Dan Stevens, which is a possession film. That was in cinemas for about a week, 2 weeks. I saw it. It's not very good at all. It's on Prime now, but just because I was flicking through Prime this morning, I saw it just sat on there and went, oh yeah, that film was released this year. And so it says a lot.
It's crazy. The way the film industry has changed, it ain't changed for the better, in my opinion, but it's kind of insane. Bonkers.
Yeah. I watched a film called Found Footage, the making of the Patterson Project, which is a meta film. Right. So it's a found footage film mixed with a documentary, mixed with a straightforward normal horror possession film. So the premise of the film is it centers around guy surname Patterson. He's a filmmaker. He wants to create his first feature-length film, where his whole premise is to create a documentary about a Bigfoot encounter in the middle of the woods. And so to get that funding, he gets help from other people. However, a French documentary crew wants to come along and document his making of his documentary.
Wow. Okay.
And so they follow along to him while he's creating the film using very unknown actors and things like that. However, it discovers that things badly have been happening in this cabin where they've rented to create this found footage documentary film. While again, that film is being documented.
Yeah, I think you've lost me a little bit, but yeah, I'm just going to nod in agreement. Yeah.
So yeah, it takes an absolute ton of ideas, and as you can probably guess, and absolutely just chucks them all at the wall and just goes, we know some of this is going to stick because we're just taking all of these tropes that we've seen multiple times before, and let's hope some of it sticks. Some of it does surprisingly stick. And the last 10 minutes is batshit crazy. It's like it just plods along because anything bad that can happen on this shoot to create this documentary about Bigfoot happens. And what do you expect on a budget which is so shoestring, which is sort of like you sort of like realize how hard it is for very small independent filmmakers to create a film. Considering that if something bad happens, it's probably 10 times the magnitude of what something bad would happen on a big Marvel film. For example, you look at the new Spider-Man movie. Tom Holland had an accident, and so he was offset for a week. Well, you can do that. Whereas on a very small independent film, if the main actor is injured and off for a week, that's it. You've probably screwed the film completely.
Everybody's going home for like 6 months and maybe never coming back.
Exactly. So it's sort of like, in a way, it's a test to the kind of thing that can badly happen on a film when everything bad happens in this movie. And then, like I said, the last 10 minutes just goes completely insane. Go all over the place. And so it's a weird film. It's on Prime now, if people want to watch it. It's called Found Footage, the making of the Patterson Project. And I did like it. I liked it for its ambition, but my God, does it throw just everything at the wall and thinking that something will stick.
Would it be a better film if they didn't throw as much at the wall? Are there things in it where it's like if you'd have left that out, then the whole film overall would have been better?
I think the easy thing to get rid of would have been the French documentary crew whose tags along because they're forgotten. about for most parts of the film. They're sort of like introduced in the first 10, 15 minutes of the film. And then while the Patterson Project part of the film is being shot, they get completely forgotten about. They are, yes, a small little tiny integral part to the ending, to the last 2 minutes of the film. But in a way, I think you maybe could have thought about a different way to do the ending than the way it was actually done. So I think that French part could have been dropped out of it. But you can tell the limitations that they had on it. But it's watchable. Traumatica, which was a film I was told, which is a very controversial, very nasty horror film. And as soon as I hear the words controversial and nasty, with the words horror film, I want to watch it. And to me, it just wasn't. Again, it's a possession film, which it does hit a lot of taboos in the movie. There is sexual assault in the film. There is, unfortunately, the one word which I hate using, but there is some paedophilia sort of like alluded to in the film itself, and there is some hard topics. It doesn't go as extreme as, say, a Serbian film. That scene in a Serbian film, so it doesn't go as extreme as that. But again, it's one of those films where it didn't know how to handle its subject properly, because when you've got a tough subject like paedophilia or sexual assault or some those kind of extremes, you need to be able to handle with a deft hand. And unfortunately, in this, it doesn't do that. It's there just for shock value, and it just didn't work. And when it introduces the demon, because the demon is the thing that's like persuading possessed the mother and possessed the father to do the things that they're actually doing, it just didn't land for me. So I found it to be a bit of a miss. And unfortunately, another miss is a movie called Other, which is on Shudder. It's a movie that I was really looking forward to because it's from the director of Them or Il, and from the director of
that's sitting behind me, that movie on my shelf. Yep.
And from the director of Mads, which is a phenomenal film, one-shot film, which is on Shudder as well, which I cannot recommend enough.
Mads.
It was
okay.
Capital M, lowercase A-D, capital S.
Okay, I'll check that out. Written that down. Yeah.
And it is on Shudder, and it's one of if you love the tension from them, it's actually slightly more ramped up in Mads. He handles it absolutely spot on. That movie is just tension from minute one to minute end.
What's the premise of Mads?
It's a one-shot movie, so it's like it is just shot as one whole take, and it's about it's very similar to like the disease that's affecting people in 28 weeks later.
Right.
And that's all I'll say.
Okay.
It is just that, but I honestly tension 100% in that movie. Other is got Olga Kurylenko in it, and it's set again. It's a pretty much a one location movie. She returns to her mother's home, just because the mother's passed away, to sort of like finalize all the last little bits and bobs. She doesn't want to be there, but she discovers that the mother held a bit of a dark secret, that she was keeping something there that she shouldn't have been keeping. And he just doesn't get the tone right, unfortunately. Like with Them and Mads, he gets the tone absolutely spot on because they're just tension beyond tension. With this, the tension is lost, and I think it's because, no offense to her, but Olga Kurylenko is not a good actress. And the way she sort of like releases her lines and the way her mannerisms work and the way she's moving just feels more like a caricature of somebody who would be in that situation, rather than just going for somebody completely unknown and go for the huge massive tensions that the director is very well known for. So I would skip Other. Again, it's on Shudder. Mads is on Shudder as well. I would watch Mads a million times more over than Other.
And Shudder's still it's like a $5 a month, isn't it, or something?
Yeah.
It's a cheap platform, isn't it? So I haven't used Shudder I used to get like a press access account for that, and then AMC or whatever sacked a lot of Shudder staff or whatever, and then my press contact went away, so I lost my free account with Shudder, and I've not been back for a while because I've got that many streaming platforms to juggle. But I think it's worth signing up for a month and just plowing through. But
Definitely.
I'll investigate Mads.
Yeah, considering that, to my knowledge, they've only ever put up their price once.
Yeah.
since that platform has started, because it was originally $3.99 and they've put up the price once, whereas other platforms like Netflix and Prime have only actually done it once as well. They've gone from $7.99 to $8.99. So Paramount have done it, Disney have done it multiple times. Spotify has increased their prices again this year for the second time.
Apple,
so whereas
Max, which we don't have over here, but the HBO Max prices have just gone up again.
Which is launching here in February, HBO Max.
Is it? Well, I'm not signing up for it. It's too expensive, that damn thing.
It's going to be free if you've got Sky.
Oh, I have Sky. Is it really? Oh, I'm happy now. I'll happily have Max.
So it's very, because it's going to make Sky even more of a one to go for, because obviously I show a lot of HBO Max things through Sky Atlantic. And so as part of your subscription, if you've got Sky and Sky Movies, you'll get HBO Max, you'll get Paramount Plus, and you'll get Discovery Plus as part of all of that, and Netflix as well.
I'm all for that then. Yeah.
It's launching, February next year. It launches over here.
Sweet. Even more content that I can look at and go, I need more time.
Yeah, and then the last quick film, just to throw it there, Coyotes, which is the new film, Kate Bosworth, Justin Long. It's about a family who lives in the Hollywood Hills. They get accosted by mutant coyotes. It's a sort of like it's a comedy horror thriller which gets every single one of its genres wrong. The comedy is just completely flat. The horror is CGI'd to the hilt. The CGI in the coyotes is terrible. It reminds me of the kind of CGI you would have seen back in the early noughties on some of the dogs in it. And so it's really bad. The thriller elements just do not work. The character development is just so basic and mundane. It's just completely forgettable. Coyotes.
Okay.
That's my throwaway ones. The rest of the ones are sort of like biggish releases that I've got.
I have watched finally Piggy from a few years ago, the Carlotta Pareda movie. I remember that screening it. It was either Fright Fest or Grimfest. It was one of the two, and I missed it. And this is, I don't know if you've seen Piggy. You probably have, because it's a horror movie.
Is that about the girl who takes revenge?
Yes. And it was very different than I thought, because I figured the film was going to be about a girl who is picked on for her size, hence Piggy. And she takes revenge on the bullies. That's what I thought. And that's kind of what the film is, but it's not quite like that. It's different. But I really liked it. It was on ITV, and so therefore it's on the ITVX catch-up thing. And I'm like, oh, Piggy, well, just watch that, because I had all these horror movies picked out for Shocktober, and a lot of them were just Friday 13th, 3, 4, 5, and I'm like, I need something different. So I saw Piggy. I'm like, I'm loving that. But it's a good film. I liked it. Good.
I don't know if you're the same, but is there any genre within inside horror which, when you sort of like read a basic blurb of it, that puts you off? Like when it says it's about a specific subject. For example, for me, things in regards to bullying, I'm not a fan of. When I sort of like read it in a bit of a description about somebody who, revenge films in that instance, that gets badly bullied. Not like films like Revenge, the movie Revenge, where she unfortunately
that's good.
She gets raped and then takes revenge from it. And then I spit on your grave, or things like that. They're hard watches, but when I read something like that, it doesn't put me off it. But when it's something like a kid gets really badly bullied in high school or something like that, for me, that's one of the categories which I'm looking at going, do I actually want to watch this? It sort of like puts me off a little bit when I see stuff like that. I don't know about yourself.
I don't mind the bullying stuff, because usually in those sort of films, the bully kind of gets sorted out by the end of the film. So that's the part I'm hoping for. It's like, go on, unless it's like Eden Lake or something. It's like, Jesus. I'm kind of put off by the rape revenge genre, and I have to really be in. I don't want to use the phrase "in the mood" to watch them, but you know what I mean. It's like I need to be in that. I'm going to sit down and watch a tough film. Sometimes it will take me years to watch a film. It took me a few years to watch Serbian film, for example. And I'd seen the original I Spit on Your Grave decades ago, and I remember how low budget and all that sort of stuff it looked. But the sequels and the remakes, I had to really psych myself up to. I spent a whole weekend watching all the films in that series, and it was not a pleasant. But I quite enjoyed the franchise as a whole. But I'm not like, oh, I want to watch them again because that was well
Yeah,
enjoyable. But yeah,
that's
it's probably
so.
that genre that puts me off, and I need to prepare myself to watch them. One film I
Yeah,
don't plan on watching, and it fits in, I'm guessing, with my example, is Irreversible. I'm like, you know what? I'm good. Plenty of other films for me to watch out there. I don't need to see those scenes. I'm all right. I'm done.
the thing with Irreversible though is it's a very typical Gaspar Noé movie. Because Gaspar Noé loves to absolutely shock, but the shock is right at the start of the film. Like
Mm,
the film does have some nasty things throughout the movie itself, but the biggest sort of like gut punch is at the start of the film. So if you can get through that, you can definitely get through the rest of the film, Irreversible, considering that it is told backwards.
yeah.
Um, I would say it's the hardest Gaspar Noé film to watch, Irreversible. If you've seen any of his other previous films, I think Irreversible is his hardest film. It's his best one because I
Mm.
think he goes a bit too off the reel with some of his rest of his films. I'm not a huge fan of Noé, but it definitely is worth a watch if you can try and get yourself through
Mm. I mean,
the first 10 minutes.
I think it took me about 5 years to get round to watching the first Human Centipede, for example. I'm like, right, I'm gonna watch it,
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch it. And then a Serbian film, I'm like, I don't want to watch it. I don't want to. I'll watch it. To this day, I've still never seen Human Centipede 2, and I'm okay with that. I don't really feel the need to watch it. But at some
all
point
three.
down the line, I may end up going, let's watch some Lawrence Harvey being weird.
Human Centipede Part 2 is on Tubi. In the um,
Void.
yeah,
We
and
cut out for a second there.
I thought so. And then Human Centipede Part 3, I don't know where that is. It's somewhere.
Yeah, it will be somewhere. Um, but yeah, Piggy, I enjoyed it. It was pretty good. I've watched a couple of films that I know you hate, and I'd seen the first one before, not seen the second one, and I'd never seen either. So we sort of back to back those. The Strangers Chapter One, which was the one I had seen before, I don't mind it. I don't think it's that great. And then we watched The Strangers Chapter Two, which is nowhere near as good as the first chapter, which is probably not a high benchmark, but again, I didn't mind number two. It was just like it feels like a TV movie, which I guess in some ways it is because it was already on streaming. So
What makes The Strangers Chapter 2 even worse is in a press interview with Rennie Harlan at uh, not Fright Fest, it's the American version of Fright Fest, which I cannot remember. Fantastic Fest. At Fantastic Fest, where the film had its premiere, he turned around and said, "This is the film I wanted to make." I hate when directors use that excuse.
yeah,
This is the film that I wanted to make. The first part was we had to shoot it just so I can establish things. But what I want to get across to people, my ideas are merely present in the second and third film.
oh
And I
God,
saw the second film at the cinema and going, "Oh, your brain must be completely empty if this is your ideas,"
yeah.
because I heard that interview prior to me seeing The Stranger Chapter 2, and all reviews coming out of Fantastic Fest. It was a lot of people's worst films. There was a couple of people who I saw that like 25 films at Fantastic Fest, and it was in the bottom three or four, not their worst film. They had seen a couple of films worse than that. Surprisingly, one of the people who saw Shelby Oaks and found Shelby Oaks to be their worst film. But with Strangers Chapter 2, it predominantly got a lot of people's bottom three, bottom five films. And I knew what to expect, what I was actually going in to see,
Yeah.
considering I really didn't like Strangers Chapter 1. Pre at Night, I thought was a throwaway film, but it was still watchable. The scene in the swimming pool actually is not too bad. Um, and then I watched Strangers Chapter 2, and it's a mess of a movie, an absolute mess of a film. It has no cohesion to it whatsoever. It's just little ideas completely stolen from tons of other films and then stitched together. And then there's a fight scene, including a boar. And then that's pretty
Yeah, what
much
was that? Yeah, that was what was the point of that? That was like, and
exactly.
Annette turned to me at one point. She's like, "Oh my God, is that boar gonna go all revenant on it?" So I'm like, "She's serious." Annette's learning her movie stuff, movie
Mm-hmm.
tropes. And then after that scene finished, she's like, "Well, what was the point of that boar scene?" I'm like, "I have no idea. Maybe it's just to show this girl's having a worse day than she thought she was 10 minutes ago." But at least we know who
And then
Tamarin is. So there was that thing. At least we
we
know that
do.
whole premise.
But do we actually give a damn of the backstories of Dollface and the other two strangers? We don't. That's the whole point that made Strangers, the first one, and Strangers Prey at Night malevolent. It's because it's a group of
don't
serial
know.
killers who kill because you're in. You actually answered the door. And that's the whole premise of it. You can't get away with telling that story 4 times and then expect The Strangers Chapter 2 to be shown the backstory, whereas the third one, if you stayed during the credits, it shows you a preview of what's happening in the third one. It just looks like watching the same trailer from the second one.
And there's a lot of examples, and Midnight said it last week, the horror logic, which is a phrase I like to use now. There's a lot of examples of dumb arse horror logic in the chapters in chapter 2. And it's not just unique to that film, it's in a lot of films, but certainly there's a lot of it in The Strangers Chapter 2. But I didn't mind. It was like, yeah, it's fine. It's killed an hour and a half, right? I'll watch the third one when it comes out, and then Rennie can go off to do car adverts or something. He's had a weird career, that guy, hasn't he?
Definitely.
Just like
It definitely has.
He did one of the Elm Streets, didn't it? It was number 4, I think.
3?
He'd done. Was it
3?
Chuck Russell, I think, or did he? He did
or
one
was
of
it?
them.
He did. Yeah, he did do one.
I think it was 4. Because I think Chuck Russell, who did The Blob, did the third one. Because I'm like, oh look, and written by Frank Darabont. And then I think I saw Rennie's name popping up on the 4th one. I'm like, wow, that guy's not. His career's not really gone that much further from Elm Street 4 to The Strangers Chapter 2, really, has it?
He did things like Cutthroat Island as well, so that says a lot.
He did Die Hard 2 and A Long Kiss Goodnight, which are good films, but it definitely got peaks and troughs. He did Cliffhanger, which was a good film. So,
Graceland. He did do Driven as well, which Driven is a bad film.
I didn't mind Driven.
He did The Dream Master.
Yeah.
Which is the 4th Nightmare on Elm Street one, which was when the series dropped down to a 15 certificate because Nightmare on Elm Street, the original one, was an 18 certificate but got re-rated. So it is actually officially a 15 certificate now, A Nightmare on Elm Street.
How times change. The final movies that we watched, I did 3 rewatches and then 1 new film to me. So the rewatches were the year 2000's Ginger Snaps.
I love that film.
The trilogy is on Prime. The first one I really, really do like. The second one I remember thinking was okay, but not as good as the first one. And the prequel I didn't like. So I'm not going to go back and rewatch 2 or 3, but 1, still great. I mean, the wig's a little bit dodgy on one of the characters, but the film itself I think is great. I love it.
I really like that film.
The other one was The Neon Demon, the Nicholas Winding Refn film. That was a film that I'd seen it before. I really liked the soundtrack. I think the music's great. And I couldn't remember enough of the film, but I was pondering, I'm like, did I like that film enough for it to go into my favourite 250 films of all time? The answer decidedly became a no. The first half of the film is pretty good, and then it just goes off onto this weird David Lynch shit that just like, what are you even... It's 3 times I've seen that film now since it came out, and I still don't know what half of it means. Again, one of the sisters, so, but yeah, odd film.
For me, Nicholas Winding Refn is a hack of a director. I think he's made 1 really good film, Drive, and then the rest of his films are just not very good at all. So I just think he's a hack of a director, Nicholas Winding Refn.
Drive's good. Neon Demon, I like the first half. I enjoyed Pusher, which is the first film he ever did. I'd rewatched like the trilogy. Well, not rewatched. I'd watched the trilogy of those films. They're pretty good, but nothing iconic. But yeah, I'm like, do I put Neon? No, it's not that good a film. And then the one we watched last night was a film I've seen a few times, and Annette loves it. It makes her cry because of the music, and it's Ridley Scott's Hannibal. Which, it's my favorite of the Lecter movies. I prefer it to Silence of the Lambs and Red Dragon and all the other ones, but I love Hannibal. I think it's great.
No, Silence of the Lambs for me is Silence of the Lambs is the best. Then Manhunt. Manhunter. I think Manhunter is absolutely fantastic, and then the rest sort of like just blur into one big ball of forgetfulness. Hannibal Rising is easily by far the worst one. That film was just completely pointless. When I saw that in cinemas, I was just thinking, going, this should never have been made.
I think that and Red Dragon are equally why. What's the point?
I
I get why they made Red Dragon because they wanted a bit of continuity, but Red Dragon is not even shouldn't even be touching the ankles of Manhunter.
I think Red Dragon's got one really good scene in it, the pig face eating thing. I do like that. Whereas Hannibal Rising just has absolutely nothing going for it whatsoever. Speaking about a prequel, we really didn't need to know about Hannibal Lecter during his teenage years. It's like he's going on a vacation or something, a vacation of cannibalism.
Yeah.
So we really didn't need to know that.
I go to bat for 2001's Hannibal. I do love it. I think it's great. I love the music. It just looks very cinema. I mean, it's Ridley Scott. Of course, it's going to be cinematic. But
yeah,
that was the one we watched last night. Tonight might be The Good Son or might be Mads, possibly. But the new film that I watched that I'd never seen before was the Francis Lawrence film, The Long Walk. I love The Long Walk. I love it. I love all these apocalyptic-y type, set in the future, life sucks, Hunger Games, Battle Royale type craziness. The Long Walk's such a simple premise. There's a lottery which you can apply for, and all these boys, there's like 50 of them. You've got to walk, and it is the last one who gets to the end of this walk wins like the ultimate prize. Whatever you want to win, you can have. And if you drop down below 3 miles an hour, you get a warning. If you drop down again, you get another one. If you drop down another one, you get a third one, then you get like killed. It's just like, it's so basic and so sort of nihilistically nasty. Loved it. Currently, it's definitely my top 10 films of the year so far. We've got another couple of months to go, but I think it will be in there by the end of the year. Love it.
It's not in mine.
Really?
Because for me, it felt like he was running out of ideas. As I said to you when because I watched it in cinemas, The Long Walk, and it just felt like there was a section of the film where he needed to think of a way to get rid of a lot of the numbers of the people, because it's 50, as you said there, it's 50 boys choosing from each one of the states across America to take part in this long walk. And he had to discover a way of whittling that number down to at least half. And so there's a segment where you just pretty much, like 20 boys just get shot. And then the characters who were supposedly latch onto, that's where he needs to try and think of a few different ways of killing them. That person, unfortunately, who's got bladder problems, with him. But because it's a one idea film, there isn't a very many other ways you can actually elude or expand on that idea. Unfortunately, I was happy the fact that it wasn't on for a couple of hours. It was like a straight 90-minute film, done and dusted with. But you could tell that some of he was just running out of ideas and ways of being able to do it. The interaction between the boys was fantastic. It reminded me of Lord of the Flies. And so I love the way they interacted with each other, the main ones. But I still think that it's not the brilliant film it sort of alludes to. It's a 3-star for me.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. But yeah, it was it's one of those films you watch it as well, and you're like, if I was one of these kids walking, what would my tactic be? Mine wouldn't be to make friends with everybody else, because it's like, what's the point? Either you're going to take a bullet in the head, or you're going to have to try and make somebody else take a bullet in the head, or whatever. So I'd be like the lone person going, I'm just going to sod the lot of you. I'm going to try and make this thing. But the ending of the film apparently is different than the book. Annette's read the book. I haven't. She told me afterwards, she's like, this is the ending. I'm like, well, I think the film's done the better ending, to be fair. I don't know if you'd go with the ending of the book, which is a lot grimmer than the ending of the film. But I think Cooper Hoffman's a good actor, though. I like him. I like that guy.
It's sort of like I would think that directors in a way are starting to cotton on to Stephen King's endings, because he does not like to do straightforward basic endings to his books. He likes to do nastiness, and from what I've heard with Welcome to Derry, the new It TV series, which unfortunately is HBO Max. It's shown on Sky Atlantic over here. It's actually airs tonight, tomorrow over here for us. But from what I've heard, some of the stuff that was in the original source material for it is very dark in the novel, and it actually is shown some of the stuff in the TV series, some of the dark stuff, because in the book there's a lot of rape and things like that happens in it. And Muschietti couldn't get away with doing that because obviously he needed the film to be a 15 certificate, and that kind of stuff is very dark. But HBO Max, they really do not mind going into dark territories. Look at some of their previous stuff. From what I've heard, that's the case. And so I would love it if directors did start to understand King and potentially go down the dark route. Because with Francis Lawrence, you can tell it was a joy for him to do this movie, because I'm guessing he wanted to do a lot of stuff that he's shown in The Long Walk in Hunger Games. But Hunger Games had to be stripped back because it could not be a 15 certificate. It was a 12-year when it was released in cinemas, and when it was released on DVD, it was allowed to have some of the stuff that wasn't shown in cinemas to be put back into it to be a 15. And so you could tell he loved the chance to being able to do something with a bit more bite to it, with a bit more of an aggressive nature. But I'll just push it that little bit further, because that's what King's like. He likes to push the boundaries a little bit more.
Does. I thought the boundaries were pushed quite well in Long Walk, though. It was like, ooh, okay, it's good. This is the sort of film we're watching, is it? Okay, I get it. But I really liked it. I thought it was great. So it's still not beat F1 for me, which is my current favorite film of the year. Obviously, it's a very different film than The Long Walk.
I haven't seen it yet. I was going to watch it yesterday. When I saw it was on for just over 2.5 hours, my brain was just going, I can't be bothered with a 2.5 hour film at the moment.
Yeah, it's 157 minutes or something, I think it is. So
I will watch it before the end of the year. I will get it watched, but I'm just going to have to find a good 2.5 hour chunk to watch it.
Get your volume turned up loud as well, because it's got one of those good old Jerry Bruckheimer, Hans Zimmer collaboration sort of scores. Bruckheimer back in the 80s, 90s, the music was always a huge ingredient in his, like, The Rock and Con Air and stuff like that. And the soundtrack to F1's really, really good. So that's it. That's all I've watched, really. I rewatched The Sadness, the reissues. I think Second Sight, I've got one. Or is it Arrow? It's Arrow that have re-released it, and on 4K, and I checked that out. The extras are minimal. There's not a lot of extras on it, but there's like a bunch of commentaries on it, though, so those extras are good. But the film itself is just
batshit crazy. Probably the best way to say it.
Insane batshit crazy film. I love it. Really,
yeah,
like
including.
I've seen it maybe 3-4 times now since it came out.
Including an eye socket scene,
still which makes me cringe.
Yeah, it's if people want to watch it, it's on Shudder. The Sadness, because it was released on Shudder. That's where I watched it, and it's a bit nuts. But what do you expect from Japanese gonzo splatter stuff, Korean splatter stuff? It instantly it loves that territory where it goes down for shock value, and you guarantee that it will shock people. Like, I love the fact that when an American film gets released and go, oh, this is extremely shocking, there's the Koreans going, yeah, watch how it's done. We'll show you how it's done.
Yeah. Hold my beer. But with The Sadness, you've got like 15 minutes of the film. It's only just over an hour and a half. You got 15 minutes of this film where, there are some gory scenes in the first 15 minutes, but it's kind of just setting you up. Here's the characters. Here's the world. Let me tell you a little bit about this Alvin virus that's going around. And obviously you're looking at it going, you're talking about COVID, but they're turning it up a lot. So it's more like the rage virus from the 28 Days Later with a bunch of weirdness where it's like, let's just not have a rage virus where somebody wants to kill you. Let's make the person who's infected want to have sex in the weirdest sadomasochistic way possible, hence the eye socket. So anybody who's heard the sadomasochistic part and the eye socket, yeah, that's pretty much what you will probably see in that. Thanks to whoever's cutting and pasting loads of stuff in the chat. Much appreciated. Not quite sure what's going on there, but carry on.
They have been
The
blocked.
sadness is awesome.
I have blocked that person, by the way, because I saw the spam,
good.
and then as soon as somebody's, because I moderate for a couple of people on Twitch, and so I instantly know when you know somebody needs to be blocked, and so they've been blocked.
Thank you, Stu. For anybody on the audio, it was just somebody just pasting flags in the chat again and again and again and again, so they're gone. But yeah, that's all I've watched. So over to you again.
I've got some biggies, a couple of very big films. So The Lost Bus, I'll quickly go over that. It's on Apple TV Plus. It's the Paul Greengrass film. It's about the fires that happened in Paradise, California in 2018. The absolute prick of Donald Trump got the entirety of the city completely wrong, the name of it, as per usual. And he made a mockery of what actually happened there. A lot of people lost their lives. Thousands of homes got obliterated, and it's just about a bus driver played by Matthew McConaughey who is being sent out to try and rescue these school children. It's very Paul Greengrass. If you know the sort of like the style and the way Paul Greengrass handles his thrillers, you're in safe territory with this. He doesn't deviate from what he does best. It's definitely worth a watch.
I will check that out. I do like Greengrass, actually.
And it's on Apple TV Plus. Apple TV, because it dropped the plus. And so Good Boy, which is that the horror film from the point of view of a dog, but not the way people were initially thinking when they hear it's from the point of view of a dog. You're expecting to see it's from the camera eye view of a dog, but it's not. The dog is the main character of the film. So it's from its day-to-day musings, the way a human beings would be about its owner goes to this small home because he wants to try and rebuild his life, and there is a ghost within inside the home, possession or something bad's happened inside the home. And so you see all of that kind of stuff from the dog's point of view rather than a human's point of view. It's a very simplistic story. Like, the story is very minimal. It's like a couple of page kind of story. It's handled pretty well. Seeing it from that point of view rather than the human's point of view is an interesting way of actually done it, because it's not something we do get to see a lot. And so it's nice to see it from that, and it does keep interest up. And so it is worth a watch. It was released in cinemas. Don't know which platform is going to get it, but it should be out soon on digital. Going to drama, The Ballad of Wallace Island, because I heard a hell of a lot of good things about this. This is the Tim Key film. It's a very, very small film. It's set on Wallace Island, which is a very small island off the coast of Scotland. And it's about a rich person who invites two musicians to come and play for him. It's simple as that. On this island, there is only a couple of inhabitants, Tim Key's Charles, and this woman who sort of like owns the shop on the island. Surprisingly, there is a shop. And the two people who are invited is Tom Basden's Herb and Carrie Mulligan's Nell. And they used to be part of a folk duo, Huge, and then they disbanded. And years later, is sort of like, in a way to try and bring them back together, Key's character invites them under an island to just film one more gig, to pay them £500,000 just so they can play a gig together. It's one of those, see, the thing that us Brits do best is comfort drama, like those nice warm cup of teas on a miserable Sunday kind of films. They're like today. It's one of those kind of films. If you want something that oozes with charm, absolutely oozes with charm, but not in a sickly kind of charm, then I highly recommend The Ballad of Wallace Island, because it is just such a comfort film. It's nothing nasty happens in the film. There's no violence in the movie. There's some really good light-hearted humor in the movie. The acting is very well spot on. The music is again, it's very comfort. It is a warm blanket comfort movie. So
we need those, certainly. Well, I do in October. I'm just wall-to-wall blood, guts, and slashers at the minute.
Yeah, so I highly recommend the Ballad of Wallace Island. It's probably going to be in my top 10 of the year. It might be in the bottom half of my top 10 of the year, but it's definitely going to be in my top 10 of the year.
As long as it's in there.
Yeah.
Hi, Deborah. How are you in the chat? So yeah, what's next, Sting?
Tron Ares or Tron Arse, as a lot of people name.
It's been hammered, but I want to watch it. I think
it's such a superficial film. I would probably say it's the most superficial film that I've seen this year. You're expecting that the acting is going to be awful. The whole film itself is just going to be so cheesy. It's pathetic. That's exactly what you're going to get. You're not getting anything special at all because the acting is so wooden. The script is woeful. It doesn't make a lick of sense. The way it's structured is just it's so pathetically bad. It's like he's dug his hand into a basket of ideas and then just went, screw it, we'll go with that one. It's not very good at all. It's really, really bad. As a matter of fact,
where does it compare to Tron Legacy, which I really like, and the first Tron, which I quite like, but not as much as Tron Legacy. I'm a huge fan of Legacy, and the soundtrack helps. To be fair,
it's easily the worst one. It's one of the worst films of this year. Tron Ares. It's just. I think studios have actually cottoned on to Jared Leto. Jared Leto has not been a good actor for ages. Requiem for a Dream.
Dallas Buyers Club, he was good in that.
He was good in Dallas Buyers Club, but that's because he had a really good sort of like person to run alongside him with Matthew McConaughey in that movie. And so, yeah, but he's not a good actor. When you make him the leading man, that's a bad idea. And yeah, if you want to nail a franchise completely dead, then Tron Ares has gone and completely done that.
I mean, the thing is, it's like the first Tron film wasn't a mega blockbuster hit. It was liked by a lot of people, including 11-year-old me when it came out. Mm-hmm. But it never made a fortune back in '82. And then when Tron Legacy came out in 2010, I don't think it was a massive box office hit then. I think if you ask people what do you like about Tron Legacy, they'll go the Daft Punk soundtrack. That's the first answer they'll give you every single time, including my answer. So it's, I've seen people going, "Oh, they dropped the ball on this third one." It's like, well, they kind of dropped the ball on all of them, to be fair, because none of them have made a fortune.
The estimated budget for Tron Legacy was around 170 million. You easily round that up to a good 400-500 million because the amount of money that they would have spent on advertising for that film would have been astronomical. It only opened at 44 million in the US and Canada. The gross US and Canada was 172 million. Worldwide, it made 400 million. So it probably lost about 50 million.
Over the years on Blu-ray and video on demand and soundtracks, they probably made a few quid back. But Tron Ares, I think, it's just we live in this world now where people, and by people I mean people on the internet who are typing in Facebook groups and all that sort of stuff, seem to think that movies live or die in the box office, and it's like, well, it's not how movies work. People watched the last Mission Impossible film and however much money that made, it kind of makes them want to go back and rewatch the first one and the second one and the third one and the fourth one. So when you've got a franchise, it kind of builds up and it will end up making money over the years. But people are just so, how much did it make on its opening weekend? I saw people doing articles about how it was a huge flop on the Sunday after it had come out on the Friday.
Mm-hmm. Well,
but still.
With Tron Ares, so far to this date, it's only been out about 3 weeks. It's made 108 million worldwide.
Yeah, not great.
On 180 million budget, and again, you need to at least double it and then add a little bit more on top because marketing costs these days is the usual rule of thumb used to be you double its budget, you double the film's budget, and that's what its marketing on top is now. Marketing is actually a little bit more expensive than it used to be, and so it's double it and then add a little bit more on top. So it's probably around about the 400 million mark it needs to crack before it can actually start making a profit. It's on 108 Tron Ares, so it's
but that's at the box office though, isn't it? That's not counting how much it costs to license on streaming platform, even though it's going to go on Disney. That's still Disney streaming will still pay a license fee to whoever. It's a whole. It's not just
It's
as
not
cut
going to
and
make its
dried
money
as.
back.
No, not for quite a few years.
I don't think it will ever.
Do you not think so? I think it
No,
will eventually, but we'll never find out because they don't share that info. But
I don't think it will ever. I watched Dangerous Animals
what do you think?
because I thought it was actually pretty decent. Shark films these days are either absolutely garbage or because mutant shark films, about 90% of mutant shark films are absolute pants. Or you might get that diamond in the rough. And for this, because of the fact that it is just about a malevolent character played by Jai Courtney, who is 100% like the demon version of Crocodile Dundee. It's probably the best way to explain his character. Just because the rapper serial killer movie around a shark film, I think it's helped the film more. Whereas if it was sort of like about a group of people trapped in the middle of the ocean and then they needed the help from his character, Jai Courtney's character, it wouldn't have worked. But because you do it the serial killer route, I think it worked better than it definitely did. It's one of those films where it's like pure cinema popcorn fodder, but in the entertaining kind of route, because it didn't get much of a theatrical release. It was only out for like 2 weeks over here, and so and then it just disappeared. But it is that ultimate. It's not going to make my top 10 of the year.
No, mine neither. No,
it was entertaining.
It's easily the best thing I've seen Jai Courtney in for probably ever.
Yeah, I thought his Captain Boomerang was actually not too bad. One of the better elements of Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's definitely it's watchable. It's very, very watchable. Seeing something's watchable seems sort of like a bit of a backhanded compliment. But it's entertaining. It was entertaining.
Not every film can be, wow, that was great. Because if every film you watched was great, then there would be no great films because it'd be like, oh, another amazing film. So you would kind of lose that. So you need to watch a lot of crap. And then a lot of, that was watchables to then appreciate the really good ones. But I enjoyed Dangerous Animals. It was entertaining.
Yeah, so I thought that was not too bad. Black Phone 2.
I've heard a lot of people getting mad at that film because they're like, the first one's good, the second one, what happened? So I don't know if that you agree with that mindset, but that's what I've heard a few people.
Now, the best way to tarnish somebody's mindset of a film is when you watch the film that it's trying to imitate after it. Because in a double bill, I watched Black Phone 2, and then an hour later, that's when I saw Nightmare on Elm Street. And Black Phone 2 takes elements from A Nightmare on Elm Street because, spoilers slightly for people who haven't seen Black Phone, it's the only way I can basically describe Black Phone 2. But Black Phone 2, the grabber played by Ethan Hawke gets killed. He dies at the end of the first one. And in the second one, they need to try and think of a way to try and bring him back. And what method do they use? The Freddy Krueger will haunt you in your dreams kind of malevolent demon thing. And that's what they use. It's not giving anything away of that because it's in the trailer. We do see that he's sort of like a more of a malevolent force that haunting you with inside your dreams. And that's exactly what he's doing with Inside Black Phone 2. The main lead character from the first one, who kills the grabber in the first one, he survived. It's set 4 years later. It's about him and his sister who sort of like volunteer at this cabin in the middle of absolutely nowhere. It's a Christian cabin. They get snowed in because they only just barely managed to make it there. And they discover that this cabin has something to do with the grabber. And this is the best place to potentially stop him. Because the grabber wants to come back and finish what he started. That's pretty much the basic premise of it. It's not. I didn't mind the first one. I thought the first one was fine. It's decent. It's a good idea. It falters in some elements. It's not Scott Derrickson's best film, but I still think it's a good idea. With this one, it's not as good as the first one because it feels like it's Derrickson. He's run out of ideas in a way for what he could do with the grabber. Like he wrote himself into a bit of a corner with killing him off, and so the only way he could think about doing it was going, "Oh, he's a malevolent demon who's going to kill you in your dreams."
Yeah.
And literally there are elements which is sort of like a like for like blueprint from A Nightmare on Elm Street, where when the grabber is attacking you in your dreams, you do have the movements in your normal life, like in your bed, you are moving around, looking, getting flung all over the place. There is a scene inside the kitchen of it where he's managed to get into the mind of one of the characters, and she's flying around all over the place. And I'm going, I'm going to be seeing this in about an hour and a half time, and then I'm at Elm Street. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was done in '84, and this is 2025. And so there are a few decent elements. I didn't mind the way, because the way they do the scenes is, in the real world, it's shot normally, shot on digital. When it's done in the dream world, in the grabber's world, it's shot on 15mm.
Nice.
And so I like that. Again, I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. And I like that sort of like the where it's shot on the 15mm kind of thing. They do it too many times. It's sort of like, it's an idea which they beat it a little bit too much to death. But I still like that style of shot because it does have that more of a dreamscape kind of feel to it. But in my opinion, it's not as good as the first one.
Can't be any worse than Megan 2, which, if I'm doing a list of my least favorite films of the year, my God, that film's awful. I didn't even finish it. I'm out. So
Yeah, I've probably seen worse. Definitely seen worse.
I haven't. I'm like, nope, I'm done.
And then I've got three. One I want to leave till last for a good reason. So I've seen House of Dynamite, which is on Netflix now with Catherine Bigelow's film. It's what happens when DEFCON 1 happens in America. It's a nuclear missile which is being fired from an unknown source. They've got just around about 20 minutes to try and locate it, stop it. How are they going to handle that? And it's the story. The film is told from three different points of view. And so we've got the first section, which is set in the main sort of like compound, the main DEFCON area, where they need to try and figure out on how they're going to do it. The second one is mainly from one of the workers' point of views, who's coming into the White House to try and come up with ideas to speak to see the Russian president or the Chinese government to try and figure out who's actually done this to be able to actually stop it. And the third point of view is told from the president's viewpoint, Idris Elba, and what happens when the president is being given the ultimate decision on going to DEFCON 1, because it's not something you can instantly go from DEFCON 5 to 1. Yeah, it's America, and they do it completely backwards. 1 is worse than 5 in this instance. And so it's what kind of things they need to do. Do they need to evacuate cities, Chicago, or other cities like that? What the casualties are going to be, things like that. So the film itself is told from those three different viewpoints. The first viewpoint for me is where Bigelow is working her best work. That's where the tension actually is just there. It's right front and center. Again, she's a master of being able to imbue tension into everyday scenes in a way. And so that works. The second segment, you start to feel like the idea is running a bit thin. Like you think, well, we're going to see this again after this on a third segment. It's the Idris Elba third segment with the president where it's just not needed at all. And then it ends, and that's all I'm going to see here. And that the ending is terrible. Does
it feel more like a Catherine Bigelow movie or more like a Netflix movie? If that question makes sense. Because Netflix are a bit iffy with some of their movie choices.
It's definitely a Catherine Bigelow film. When you initially start watching it, the first segment is full on 100% Bigelow, easily. And then the second segment is got lots of Bigelow's elements within inside it. And then the third element, you're just thinking, again, they're stretching this idea a bit thin now with seeing it from that point of view. I think it's because she wanted to do it in real time. Each one of the segments in real time of the 20 minutes. Because the film itself is just on for just over 90 minutes. It's not a very long film at all. Obviously, it's not full on real time because the film then would have only been 60 minutes long. But she wanted to do it like it was real time. And the way I think it is, it should have been a film that was shot very similar to that film September 5, that came out earlier on this year, which I think is fantastic. And that is in my top 5 of the year. Surprisingly, September 5 is a better film of handling its tension than, in my opinion, A House of Dynamite. And as I said, I initially made up my mind of the thought of the film itself, because when you get closer to an end of a film, your brain is then sort of like going, well, this is what I feel about the film. It's already making its conclusion up. And then when the ending happened, I just went, ambiguity I love. I love ambiguity. Make up your own mind. But this is ambiguity on another annoying level. And so I didn't like the ending at all. The last time I felt this annoyed by an ending was The Devil Inside.
Right, yeah.
I'll just leave it at that.
I've not seen that one. The last time I got annoyed at an ending was Hollow Road, which I'm like, what?
I think you'll be even more annoyed by the ending of House of Dynamite than Hollow Road, because I liked Hollow Road.
I like the film up to a point, and then when it got to the last whole bunch of minutes, I'm like, and what's going on? And then I had to Net Googled it, and she's like, well, apparently it can be this or this. I'm like, I like either of those endings. This is just weird film, Hollow Road, But
if people have seen The Devil Inside, they can probably guess on how House of Dynamite ends. I'll give you a tiny little bit of a hint. No, it does not end with a website address. So that's the way The Devil Inside ends. It ends with a website address because they didn't shoot an ending to the film. So they decided to set up a website for The Devil Inside for you to actually see some last little bits and bobs and morsels of supposedly how the film ended.
wow,
The House of Dynamite does not end like that, so I'll let people know that. So there's that. And then the last one is, did you know there is a new Halloween film out there?
There's a fan film kicking around.
Halloween Aftermath.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's on YouTube.
It's I think that's where I saw it. And it's like, I don't generally watch fan films for whatever reason, because there's too many other films to watch, but I've seen that thumbnail.
Yeah, so it's on YouTube. It dropped last Friday. I've watched it. It's on for just over 2 hours, and it's set between kills and ends. So, and it actually does a hell of a better job than kills and ends, because I didn't like kills and I hated ends. I think ends is not a Halloween film. It forgets that it is a Halloween film, then introduces Laurie Strode back into it and Michael Myers, because it's got an idea of a completely different movie. It's like it's taken the idea from Halloween 3 and threw it together with Halloween 1 and realized, we need Michael Myers in the movie because this is the conclusion of a trilogy that we've done. And so it's an absolute car crash of a movie, that. If David Gordon Green went off and did his idea, not the Michael Myers, Laurie Strode's last battle between each other idea, and did his idea that he's got what the predominant most of the film is, it might have been a decent, completely different film. But because he threw it into a Halloween film, it makes Halloween Ends not a Halloween film, in my opinion. Halloween Aftermath, like I said, it is a fan film. And they do a hell of a better job with this movie than they do with Halloween Ends and Kills. It centers around the character of Cole, who is a character in Halloween Kills. And we hear some of the background stuff of what's happening in Kills, that Michael Myers is on the loose, that what happens, again, spoilers slightly for Kills. There is a scene close to the end of Halloween Kills where Michael Myers goes on an absolute murderous rampage and kills a good 12, 15 police officers in bloody, gory carnage. We hear that on the radio, that's gone and happened. Like, they see that some of the characters go, a load of police officers have been absolutely slaughtered. So we do hear that. And for me, it's better structured than Kills, better structured than Ends. It actually feels like what Kills should have been.
How does it look, though? Does it look like a fan film, or does it looks like...
It's impressive. Yeah, you can tell that the budget is not that huge, but it's impressive. And so it's not the best Halloween film, but compared to Halloween Kills and Ends, it's on a different level. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was actually decent. There's a couple of decent gory kills in it. It's not like over the top kills as it was in Kills and Ends. Well, kills specifically. They get somebody completely different to play Michael Myers, and his mannerisms, the way he moves, you can definitely tell it's not somebody who's ever played Michael Myers before.
Yeah, it probably plays them better than Part 4 and Part 5, though, to be fair, because they're not great Michael Myers movies.
But yeah, I felt like the guy did a decent job, and if they want to hire somebody to do another film, because we know the Halloween franchise is never going to end, they're going to milk it as much as they possibly can, because they can
money in it. Yeah,
they can shoot these films for less than 20 million and easily make 100 million, and it's made its profit back. So that's the good thing about horror movies. You can easily make a movie for 20 million and easily make a profit of it. But I recommend it. Maybe leave it for Halloween itself on the 31st and watch it, because everybody can watch it. It's free to watch on YouTube. Yeah. So I recommend it. One other quick film I do want to mention is a film called Match. It's on Tubi, but only in the US. So I did watch it on Tubi, but I used a VPN to watch it. Again, there's nothing illegal about doing that. It's free. You're freely available to actually do that. If you've got Netflix, if you've got Amazon Prime, if you've got Tubi, Pluto TV, etc., and you've got a VPN, you pay for them. Obviously, Tubi's free. So I pay for Netflix. Well, I get Netflix with my TV. I pay for Prime. So if I want to watch the American versions of them, I just use a VPN, because some films come on Netflix before. For example, 28 Years Later is on US Netflix now. It's not on UK one yet, but it's on US Netflix. And so I watched Match on there. The only reason why I watched it, and it's a throwaway film, is because I watched a TikTok in regards to somebody reviewing Match and said that there's something really gross and this film is completely batshit crazy. Again, putting the words batshit crazy in the context of a horror film. I'm watching it. It's a typical horror film in the guise of a woman. She's trying to look for love. She ends up getting matched against this person. She goes to his house. The mother opens the door and discovers it's a complete ruse, and the person she's matched with is a Quasimodo humpback kind of guy who his mother wants him to procreate with all the women who he's sort of like supposedly matched with, because she wants the perfect grandchild. There is a scene involving a mousetrap and an area of the human anatomy that should never be caught in a mousetrap, which anatomy. You do. Yes.
Ooh, yeah,
and you do get to see it as well.
Oh, lovely.
And you do get to see the aftermath of it as well. The movie is obsessed with the mother trying to get the son to procreate. The film forgets that it needs to have gore in it, and then it just absolutely goes batshit insane with the gore in the last like 15 minutes of the movie, where it goes, you want gore? There you go. There's gore. I don't know if it's going to get a UK release on Tubi over here. It might, but if you want to watch it and you've got a VPN, best VPN to use if you don't want to pay for a VPN is a VPN called Proton, which it has a free element to it, which the free element allows you to attach yourself to the US, a US VPN. A lot of the big companies that have VPNs, you pay like £3 a month for it, but you have to pay it in like a chunk of like 2 years, and they're attached to the US one. But Proton, it has a free element to it, and it allows you to use a US VPN. Use Proton if you've got Android TV, so an NVIDIA Shield. If you've got a Fire Stick, you can sideload it onto that. Well, actually, Proton is on the Amazon store, so just download Proton, sign up for it. It's free. Attach it to a US VPN, and you've got US Netflix and US Prime. It then pretty much doubles your catalog. You'll get to watch 28 Years Later on Netflix, things like that as well. And then films like Match, which is on the US Tubi. So is Human Centipede Part 2. It's on the US one, not the UK one.
Match sounds lovely.
Yeah. You'll be crossing your legs while watching it.
Already doing it, listening to the description you've given of the mousetrap scene. So
yeah. And that's it. And I know that's damning with fair praise. That's it. But 28 films. Eek.
That's crazy. I'm on like 20. I think I've seen 26 because I ended up slipping the sadness in as an extra one because it was a review thing I was doing. So I'm on 26. We usually watch our horror films at night. So I am enjoying it. This is the first Shocktober that I've ever done that I've actually kept up to. I don't know if I do it every year because it's bloody exhausting. You know, I want to watch a comedy or something. I'll put Happy Gilmore 2 on or something like that, which I've still not seen. But I'm enjoying it. I'm going to stick with it for the next 5 days. Decided on Friday, the full day, and I've already had permission cleared with the full day on the Friday. I'm going to have horror movies, the classic ones, Night of the Living Dead and stuff, playing on the TV for like 18 hours. So that'll be my finale to...
That's what my cinema has been doing there. My Omniplex cinema, that's how I was able to watch A Nightmare on Elm Street, because the fact that they were showing, they've been showing nothing but horror films on some of the small screens. So I've just got their listings up for next Friday. For Friday, they've got Nightmare on Elm Street on still. They've got American Werewolf in London. Nice. That's got a 2:00 showing. Friday the 13th. Night of the Living Dead, the 1990 version of it.
Oh,
but
the Tony Todd one, yeah.
Yeah, Psycho 2. Nice. Which is interesting. They're showing Psycho 2, not Psycho. The Birds, nice. Evil Dead, and they've even got K-pop Demon Hunter for the kiddies.
Wow.
And because it's the 40th anniversary, Back to the Future.
Brilliant. Back to the Future is obviously the outlier in there when it comes to horror films, but you know, whatever. It's fine. But it's a great film. Watch it anyway.
They've been doing that, and so they'll go back to their normal thing, but they've been doing some things where they pop on Facebook saying, what films would you like to see on the big screen for us to show? And they've been getting like a few of them, and they show them each month. And so that's how I was able to see Alien as well. And so I'm going to throw a couple of ideas there where you go, put this one, get this one, get this one.
What would you throw them?
Stand By Me, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Obviously. Gremlins, closer to Christmas. I would love to see, because I saw Gremlins 2 on the big screen, but I was too young to see Gremlins on the big screen. So I would love to. I will put Gremlins on there. I saw Home Alone as a kid on the big screen. Same, I saw Home Alone 2 as a kid on the big screen. So I would have loved if they showed something like Trick or Treat, because I saw that it was only ever released on DVD. Over here, it was never released in cinemas, and so I would love to have seen that on the big screen. So my main one, Gremlins. I want them to show Gremlins.
Yeah, great film. And again, that fits into horror or it fits into Christmas, whatever. Fits into
Christmas horror film.
Watch it twice. What you got planned for the rest of your afternoon then? Anything exciting or not too much?
No, I'm back at work tomorrow. Unfortunately, I'm on an 8-4 shift, so I hate that shift. I hate work full stop. Not that I can actually do any, because my laptop that I use to work from home is broken. So I'm getting a new one delivered tomorrow. So I don't know what time that's coming. So I'm just going to spend the rest of the day just doing nothing. And then the closer it gets to going to bed, the more my brain's going, oh, you're back at work tomorrow.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? You go to sleep and you go, yay, and then when I wake up, I'm back at work again.
Yep. So that I might watch a film a little bit later on. There's some football on, cook some food, and that's just have a lazy rest of me Sunday.
I've got that, I know you've got it as well, that documentary about the Texas Chainsaw to watch at some point. I'd forgotten I had that until now, when I remember.
Yeah.
So I've got that to watch at some point. So other than that, I might watch The Good Son tonight, I think. Or I might watch
and then make sure you watch Mads as well.
Yes, I've written those down on my blank sheet of paper, which is now no longer blank. So I've got some suggestions. So thank you for those.
No problem.
Yeah, I think that's about it. I will let you go and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thanks to everybody who's been watching and who's been jumping in and out of the chat room. And obviously not thank you to the person who's been cutting and pasting flags who then got booted. But thank you to everybody else.
Definitely.
I will leave you to it, but always fun chatting with you, Stu. And I hope work goes really well, but really fast tomorrow.
Yeah, ditto. I might stick a couple of films on the TV in front of me just to distract us from the hellscape that is my work.
Sounds like a plan. Choose wisely.
Yep. It has to be very quiet though. Yes, but enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
I will do. You too. And take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.